There comes a moment in every life where silence speaks louder than the noise. A moment when the applause stops, the distractions fade, and all that remains is the question echoing through your soul. Why am I here? That moment, that whisper in the dark, that is the voice of purpose calling your name. And most people never answer. They silence that voice with busyness, with distraction, with excuses and delay. They bury it beneath obligations and obligations they never chose. But not you, not anymore. Because you are beginning to remember something ancient, something unshakable, that your life was never meant to be average, that you are not here to simply survive. You are here to build a life that cannot be denied. Purpose is not found, it is forged, and forging requires fire. Look at the lives of the titans we revere. Edison, Carnegie, Ford, Lincoln, Disney. Not one of them stumbled into greatness. They burned for it, they suffered for it, and they decided with unshakable certainty that their lives would not be ruled by chance or circumstance, but by intent. Intent so clear it cut through failure like a blade. Purpose is not a luxury. It is the engine of resilience. When the storms come, and they will come, talent won't be enough. Passion will fade. Skill can be broken. But purpose endures. It is the why that outlasts the how, the reason behind the reason. And once you are anchored in it, truly anchored, no setback can sink you. You were not born for comfort. You were born for growth. And growth begins when you stop negotiating with your fears and start leading with your vision. Most people wait to feel ready. They wait for clarity, for certainty, for signs.
But clarity doesn't come before the path. It comes through walking it. A lion does not ask permission to roar, and neither should you. If you want a life of power, you must begin with the one thing no one can take from you. Belief, not wishful thinking, not shallow optimism. Belief forged in truth. Belief earned through struggle. The kind of belief that cannot be taught, only built. Every empire that has ever stood began first in the invisible world, in the mind, in imagination, in vision. That's where reality begins, and belief is the mortar that holds the bricks together. You must believe in the possibility of your own transformation more than you believe in the comfort of your limitations. Most people inherit their limits. They adopt the beliefs of their parents, their friends, their environment, as if they were laws of nature. But a belief is not a fact, it is a choice. And the greatest revolution you will ever ignite is the one where you choose to believe something greater. Do you think Henry Ford had approval when he told the world he would build a horseless carriage for the masses? They laughed. Experts said it was impossible. He did not listen. He listened to something deeper. He had vision. And vision doesn't beg for permission. It declares. You want to change your life? Then begin with your inner language. The words you speak to yourself are the bricks of your future. Stop calling it hard. Stop calling it impossible. Start calling it yours. Every time you say I can't, you are building a wall. Every time you say I will, you are opening a door. Discipline is not punishment. It is worship. It is the honoring of the vision within you. You cannot say you want greatness and wake up like a ghost. You cannot dream of excellence and move like everyone else. Discipline is the daily manifestation of belief. It is showing the universe that you are not merely interested, you are committed, that you are willing to pay the price for greatness, and the price is everything. Do you think Thomas Edison cared how many times he failed? 10,000 attempts, and he kept moving. Because he wasn't trying to succeed. He was trying to fulfill a purpose. And when purpose leads, failure bows. This world was not built by the most talented. It was built by the most determined. By those who refused to stop. By those who knew that the power of their purpose was more real than any obstacle. You must decide. No one can give you your purpose. But once you choose it, and breathe life into it with focus, discipline and faith, the world begins to bend in your direction. Opportunities align. Energy increases. People are drawn to the clarity of your fire. Clarity is not found in books alone. It is born in motion, in action, in doing. The fog clears when you move, and the vision sharpens with every step you take, even the wrong ones. The mistake most people make is waiting to feel certain before they act. But action breeds clarity far more than clarity breeds action. Purpose without movement is potential wasted. So move, build, fail forward, iterate, adjust, learn, become. The purpose-driven life is not a clean path. It is messy, it is brutal, it is demanding, but it is real. And reality, when owned fully, becomes the most powerful force on earth. Let others chase likes and applause. You chase impact. Let others seek comfort. You build strength. Let others shrink to fit in. You expand to break out. You are not here to play small. You are not here to die full of regrets. You are here to make the invisible visible through action, through faith, through unrelenting will. And when the fire dims, as it sometimes will, when fatigue sets in and the goal feels too far, return to the why. Anchor yourself back into the reason you started, back into the truth that your life was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be yours, authored by you, not copied, not borrowed, built. Purpose is the architect, you are the builder. And if you build long enough, hard enough, true enough, you will create a life that does not need to be defended, a life that speaks for itself, a life that cannot be denied.
When a human being is fully aligned with their purpose, they become a force of nature, unpredictable, unshakable, unstoppable. This is not poetic exaggeration. This is the truth encoded in every soul that ever dared to rise. The truth that when your life has meaning, your obstacles become stepping stones. Your fears lose their grip. Your doubts dissolve in the heat of your action. You don't need to wait for lightning to strike. You are the lightning. Do you understand what that means? It means you no longer chase power. You embody it. You no longer seek validation. You command it. Because when your actions are driven by a higher purpose, the world sees the fire behind your eyes and knows this one cannot be stopped. But don't mistake noise for progress. There is a silent war waged every day between distraction and destiny. You are being pulled in 1,000 directions by the urgent, the loud, the superficial. But the deepest lives are not built in noise. They are carved in stillness. They are born from the discipline to listen, to silence, to intuition, to the whisper of your own voice before the world taught you who to be. Your calendar is not your master. Your phone is not your source. Your doubt is not your truth. Strip it all away and ask what remains. That is your raw material. That is where purpose begins. It begins in solitude, in radical honesty, in the confrontation between who you are and who you were meant to be. You want to live differently? Then think differently, act differently, speak differently. Most people live on autopilot, recycled routines, inherited beliefs, a pre-written script. But purpose shatters that script. Purpose rewrites it, in your handwriting, in your voice, in your vision. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination. They told him he'd never succeed. They told him the world didn't need another animator. But he wasn't listening to the world. He was listening to a purpose that roared louder than their doubt. What is your Disney? What idea? What mission? What truth is buried inside you that the world keeps telling you to ignore? Because here's the truth they never teach. Purpose doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It creates the moment, and it does so through action, repetition, relentless pursuit. Not glamorous, not flashy, but real. There is no secret. There is only the work, and the work becomes sacred when it's aligned with your reason for being. When you wake up with purpose, even fatigue feels different. The grind becomes devotion. The discipline becomes desire. Every obstacle becomes a test, not of your worth, but of your will. That is what separates the great from the average. The great do not need external pressure. They are self-governed, internally led. They do not need motivation to act. Their identity demands action, and this identity is not inherited. It is constructed, one decision at a time. Purpose is not an accident of birth. It is a birthright, but only those willing to claim it through sacrifice, courage, and tenacity ever taste its fruit. Abraham Lincoln faced defeat after defeat, lost elections, lost businesses, lost love, but every loss carved deeper into his soul. the realization that his life was not his own. He was being shaped for something more. He didn't surrender, he transformed. Do not fear your trials, embrace them. They are not punishments, they are preparations. Every delay is refining you. Every rejection is redirecting you. Every failure is training your focus. You are not being denied, you are being forged. And what is being forged is something rare in this world. Character, conviction, the kind of strength that cannot be taught in classrooms or found in books, only earned, only lived. The world honors results, but life honors resilience. Purpose gives you both, and with that purpose comes a vision, a picture of the world as it could be, a picture of you as you truly are. This vision is not decoration, it is a command. It demands movement, it demands discipline, it demands you grow beyond what's comfortable, because your current comfort is the cage of your future potential, and if you refuse to grow, you betray the very reason you were given breath. You were not created to live a small life. You were created to become something greater than your circumstances, to rise above mediocrity, to be the one in your bloodline who said, "It ends with me." The fear, the scarcity, the excuses, the settling, it ends with you. You break the cycle not through words, but through war. The internal war between your higher self and your habits, the battle between who you were and who you are becoming. But here's the truth, you are not fighting alone. Every moment you choose growth, the universe conspires to support you. It sends mentors, it sends challenges, it sends everything you need, if you're awake enough to see it. That's the catch. Purpose demands awareness, and awareness demands presence. You cannot drift into destiny. You must wake up, look around, and see the clues all around you, the opportunities disguised as problems, the lessons hidden in discomfort, the allies hiding behind criticism. When you begin to live on purpose, the world becomes your teacher, and the lessons multiply fast, because life favors the focused. You don't need all the answers, you just need the decision to begin. And once you begin, truly begin, you will find a momentum the world cannot understand. People will ask how you did it. They'll say you changed, and you did. You chose to become, because the greatest power you hold is not in what you've been given, it's in what you become willing to give. Your attention, your effort, your focus, your life, to something larger than comfort, to something eternal, to purpose. There is a quiet revolution that happens the moment a man or woman stops chasing outcomes and starts embodying intention. This is when life begins to change, not because circumstances instantly transform, but because you do. The power of purpose is that it does not need the world to change in order to begin. It only needs you to change your orientation toward the world. Everything external becomes an extension of your internal alignment. You stop chasing happiness and start choosing meaning. You stop reacting to life and start creating it, and suddenly what once felt heavy becomes light. Not because the burden is gone, but because you've learned to carry it with honor, with strength, with identity. You're not working a job, you're building a mission. You're not passing time, you're investing destiny. That shift, that's everything, because now your energy is different. Your presence is different. You enter rooms and people feel it, not because you're loud, but because you're certain. Certainty is magnetic, it is rare, and it is built one act of integrity at a time. Most people speak of dreams with hopeful tones, but purpose doesn't hope. Purpose decides, purpose commits, and in that commitment you awaken a force that begins to shape the fabric of your life. The world does not yield to the timid, it yields to the clear. And clarity is the reward for those who persist, not for those who dabble, not for those who try, but for those who stay, through the fog, through the dark, through the cold mornings when the dream feels far away. Those are the moments that sculpt you. Those are the tests that prove you are no longer a tourist in your own life. You are a citizen of purpose, and citizens of purpose do not wander. They walk with fire, with direction, with command. It's not that they don't feel fear, it's that they've made a deeper vow to never let fear lead. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision that purpose matters more. Look to every icon you admire, Martin Luther King Jr., Helen Keller, Nelson Mandela. They were not fearless, they were anchored, anchored in a vision greater than pain, greater than risk, greater than self-preservation, because once you have something worth dying for, you finally have something worth living for. And that is what most people miss. They think life is about safety, about security. But safety is an illusion, and security is a prison when it costs you your soul. The real danger is not failure. The real danger is success without meaning, to climb the ladder of life only to find it was leaning against the wrong wall. That's why purpose is the only compass that matters. It is the one thing that keeps you honest. It brings you back when ego whispers lies. It humbles you when pride starts to lead. It strengthens you when fatigue sets in. Purpose is not loud, but it is unbreakable, and it speaks in a language beyond logic. You feel it, you know it, and once you accept it, life is no longer about what you get. It's about who you become. Because purpose is not a destination, it's a becoming. It is the process of turning potential into presence, dreams into discipline, vision into reality. And in that becoming, you begin to realize something radical. You are not your past. You are not your failures, your upbringing, your trauma, your excuses. You are not the story others wrote for you. You are the author now, and the pen is in your hand. The power of purpose is that it erases the need for permission. It makes you dangerous, because you are no longer controlled by outcome. You are driven by mission, and mission will move mountains. Do you think Elon Musk was driven by money when he risked everything to launch SpaceX? Do you think Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat because it was convenient? No, it was purpose. Raw, non-negotiable purpose. And that kind of purpose, it changes history. You might not change the world on a global stage, but that doesn't mean your purpose is small. Raising children with values is purpose. Starting a business that solves real problems is purpose. Creating art that lifts hearts. Speaking truth in dark places. Standing for something when others sit. All of it matters. Purpose does not need to be loud to be legendary. It just needs to be true. And you will know it's true when it scares you and excites you at the same time. When it asks everything from you and still leaves you with more. When it calls you to become someone your past self would never recognize. Someone bolder, freer, more focused, more alive. But make no mistake, purpose will demand everything. You will have to let go of comfort. You will have to say no to distractions. You will have to endure isolation, confusion, resistance, and yes, even heartbreak. Because purpose is not the easy path. It is the essential path. It is not for everyone, but it is for you. Because the very fact that you hear this message means the seed is already inside you. And seeds don't bloom when you wish. They bloom when you work. So water it, tend to it, guard it, speak life over it every day, and protect it from the noise of a world that has forgotten how to be still long enough to hear its own heart. You have been given one life, one chance, one thread of time to weave your mark into the tapestry of existence. Don't waste it conforming. Don't waste it waiting. Don't waste it wondering if you're worthy. You are, not because someone told you, but because purpose has chosen you. And now it is your turn to choose it back. Then hear this, and hear it in your bones. Purpose is not passive. It is a summons, a thunderous soul-shaking call to rise. Not just once, not just when it's easy, but every single day. When your body is tired, when your friends don't understand, when your bank account mocks you, when the mirror reflects a version of you that feels miles away from the future you envision, even then, especially then, purpose stands at the door and knocks. It does not beg, it demands. Because purpose knows what you're capable of even when you don't. It's not here to make you comfortable. It's here to make you powerful. But that power is conditional. It only shows up for those who show up for themselves. So ask yourself, are you showing up fully? Or are you showing up halfway, hoping the universe will do the rest? Because the universe responds to decisiveness. It mirrors back to you the energy you carry. If you move with hesitation, it meets you with resistance. If you move with fire, it clears paths where none existed. And that's the tragedy of the average life. Not that people lack talent, but that they lack clarity. They wander in circles, hands full of tools they never use, ideas they never chase, gifts they bury under doubt and distraction. But that is not your story. Not anymore. Your story is about to change. The moment you declare it, the moment you stop whispering your dreams and start roaring them into existence, because the universe listens to conviction, and so do people. Clarity breeds confidence. Confidence breeds momentum, and momentum changes everything. It doesn't matter how slow you go. What matters is that you do not stop, that you do not fall asleep at the wheel of your own life, because a dream without action is just regret waiting to happen, and regret is a heavy thing to carry at the end of your life. You want freedom, earn it through discipline. You want fulfillment, build it through alignment. You want legacy, forge it through sacrifice. No shortcuts, no loopholes, no magic formula, just the daily grind of someone who knows why they are here. And yes, it will be hard, but do you really want a life so easy that it never demands your full strength? That's not living, that's existing. Purpose awakens something primal. It reaches into the marrow of your bones and dares you to remember. You were never meant to crawl, you were meant to soar. But flight requires friction. The resistance you face is the very thing shaping you, preparing you, molding you into a vessel strong enough to carry the weight of your calling. So embrace it. The setbacks, the silence, the moments when it feels like nothing is working. They're not signs of failure. They're signs that you're on the edge of a breakthrough. Because the universe doesn't test the weak, it tests the chosen. It waits for proof. Proof that you'll keep going when no one claps. Proof that you'll believe in your vision when it hasn't yet materialized. Proof that you'll become the person your destiny requires. Every day, you are either rehearsing your limitations or rehearsing your liberation. Choose wisely, because what you repeat you reinforce, and what you reinforce you become. Start acting like the version of you who's already living the life you desire. Start walking with the posture of someone who knows where they're headed. Start speaking as if the future is listening, because it is. Words are not just communication, they are creation. So speak with power, act with purpose, move with intent, and stop waiting for permission to live a life that cannot be denied. The world may not give it to you, but purpose already has. You've been chosen, and now it's your move. Then move with certainty. Move like a storm that knows its direction, like a river that carves canyons not by force, but by persistence, like a soul that's no longer asking, "What if I fail?" but instead declaring, "What if I don't?" Let that question haunt your hesitation. What if you don't fail? What if you succeed wildly? What if your sacrifices matter? What if the doors open not because of luck, but because you kick them down with unrelenting clarity? This is what purpose does. It changes your questions. It upgrades your standards. It alters the lens through which you see the world. Suddenly every moment becomes sacred. Every choice becomes a vote for the future you're building. You begin to realize that you are not at the mercy of life. You are the architect of it. Brick by brick, word by word, thought by thought, you are laying the foundation of a reality no one else can build but you. But architects don't guess. They plan. They see the end in their mind before they lay the first stone. They know what they're building. Do you? What are you constructing with your energy, your time, your discipline, your silence? Because whether you're aware of it or not, you are always building something, either a fortress of purpose or a prison of distraction. And here's the thing no one wants to say. You do not have forever. Your time is finite. Every breath is a disappearing asset. And that's not morbid, that's clarifying. Because once you see how brief this life truly is, the excuses lose their power. You stop tolerating procrastination. You stop playing small to protect other people's comfort. You stop living like you'll get a second chance at today. You won't. This is it. This moment. This hour. This day. And while the rest of the world hits snooze on their potential, you rise. While others shrink from challenge, you lean in. While they wait for signs, you become the sign. This is the posture of the purposeful. They are alert, awake, and aware. They do not float. They forge. They don't just hustle, they align. Because hustle without alignment is burnout in disguise. But hustle fueled by purpose, that's how you build empires. It's what Carnegie knew when he turned steel into a dynasty. What Ford understood when he defied convention to create a world on wheels. They weren't just chasing profit. They were answering a call. And the ones who answer the call are remembered long after they're gone. That is the legacy of purpose. It echoes. It speaks through generations. It ripples through time. It shifts the trajectory of families, of industries, of cultures, all because one person dared to take their life seriously, and that one person can be you. If you stop living by accident, if you stop handing the wheel of your life to circumstance, convenience, or public opinion, if you rise and claim what's already yours, a life of design, not default, but to claim it you must kill the lie that you are waiting to be ready. You are not waiting, you are avoiding. You are avoiding. Readiness is a myth, built by fear to keep you where it's safe, where it's small, where it's familiar. But purpose does not wait for readiness. It requires willingness, willingness to show up imperfectly, to fail forward, to walk with trembling hands and unwavering heart, willingness to lose some friends, to leave some habits, to live in such truth that the lies no longer fit. That's the price. But the reward, oh, the reward, a life where your days are not a blur but a battle cry, a life where your soul is not asleep but roaring, a life where the world finally sees in you what you knew was always there, greatness, not perfection, not applause, not fame, but greatness, the kind that comes from doing what you were born to do, regardless of who notices, who understands, or who claps, because the one who walks in purpose does not walk for applause. They walk because the fire inside them won't let them sit still. So walk, even if it's slow, even if it's uphill, even if you're the only one walking. And as you walk you will find others, not many, not loud, but true. Purpose finds purpose. Fire finds fire. And soon you are no longer walking alone. You are walking in alignment toward a life that cannot be denied. And when you walk long enough, through the silence, through the resistance, through the storm, you begin to feel something shift inside, a deep, almost ancient knowing that you are no longer chasing a life worth living, you are living it, not because the destination has arrived, but because you have. You've become the person who no longer needs proof to believe, who no longer needs applause to persist, who no longer needs perfect conditions to move forward. You've become dangerous in the best way, immune to doubt, unmoved by delay, unshaken by rejection. Because when you are powered by purpose, failure becomes feedback, not finality. Setbacks become stepping stones. And resistance becomes your most faithful companion, not a sign to stop, but a signal to rise. The people of great achievement, Da Vinci, Edison, Joan of Arc, Churchill, they did not move because the world cleared the path. They moved through the chaos, with blood in their teeth and destiny in their eyes. And they kept moving long after lesser minds would have quit. Because purpose doesn't care if you're tired. Purpose doesn't care if you're scared. Purpose only cares if you show up. Show up messy. Show up uncertain. Show up raw, but show up. Every day. Every damn day. Because your future doesn't respond to how you feel. It responds to how you act. Action is the sacred bridge between intention and manifestation. Thought alone is not enough. Desire alone is not enough. Vision boards, positive affirmations, good vibes, they're tools. But tools mean nothing without the builder. And you are that builder. So stop worshiping potential. Stop bowing to inspiration. Stop waiting for clarity to strike like lightning. Clarity comes from motion. Discipline sharpens direction. And doing the thing is how the path reveals itself. You build confidence by keeping your word to yourself. Not once, not when it's convenient, but consistently, when no one's watching, when the dopamine is gone, when all you have is your commitment and your cause. This is where purpose earns its power, in the quiet, in the dark, in the moments where everything inside you wants to fold, and you say, no, not today. I know who I am. I know what I'm building. This is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The ordinary seek comfort. The extraordinary seek growth. The ordinary crave ease. The extraordinary crave truth. And truth will test you. It will ask you to shed the mask, to face the mirror, to release everything that no longer serves your future. It will strip you of shallow goals and force you to confront deeper questions. Who are you without titles? Who are you when no one's clapping? Who are you when life breaks you down and purpose is all you have left? If you can answer that, then nothing can stop you, because you'll have discovered the deepest form of power, not power over others, but power over self. The power to lead your own mind, to command your own habits, to regulate your own emotions, to discipline your own thoughts. This is the highest freedom, the kind that cannot be taken, only earned, and it is earned through alignment. When your thoughts, your words, your actions, your values, and your goals all speak the same language, that's when life becomes undeniable. Not because you shouted louder, but because your consistency became louder than any doubt. Your daily choices became louder than your circumstances. Your character became louder than the noise. And suddenly the world starts to shift around you. Opportunities appear, doors open. People notice, but not because the world changed, because you did. You became someone the universe could trust with success, because you didn't just want it, you were willing to become it. And that's the difference. The world does not reward desire, it rewards identity. It rewards those who align with the version of themselves that is worthy of the life they seek. So ask yourself, are you living like that person now? Not tomorrow, not after the promotion, not when you have time. Now, because the clock doesn't stop ticking, and life will not wait for your confidence to catch up. You must decide, you must become, you must step into the fire and let it burn away everything that is not true. Because when you walk through that fire, not around it, but through it, you emerge forged, not just stronger, but clearer. And clarity is the birthplace of destiny. And once destiny has been claimed, not dreamed, not discussed, but claimed, you no longer walk like a seeker. You walk like an embodiment. You walk like the path is rising to meet you, because it is. Every great life ever lived began this way, not with certainty, not with guarantees, but with an unshakable decision to live on purpose, to refuse mediocrity, to rise above noise, to become undeniable through sheer force of will and the quiet, sacred violence of daily effort. This is the heartbeat of legacy. Not what you do once in a while, but what you do relentlessly, when it's not easy, when it's not sexy, when no one's cheering, day after day, breath after breath, step after step. And in that rhythm, the rhythm of repetition, you unlock your edge. Because repetition is not boring. Repetition is not mundane. Repetition is how the extraordinary are made. It's how Kobe became a legend, how Mozart became a master, how Mandela reshaped a nation. It's how vision turns into muscle, how faith turns into strategy, how passion turns into impact. But repetition requires patience, and patience is not waiting. Patience is the calm power of those who know that what they're building is bigger than their momentary moods. They don't rush destiny. They align with it, and they protect their energy like it's sacred, because it is. Energy is the currency of creation, and every thought, every conversation, every distraction costs you. You are either investing in your vision or you're bleeding it, and you know the difference. You feel it in your gut when you're scrolling instead of creating. You feel it when you're gossiping instead of growing. You feel it when you betray your own standards to be accepted by people who aren't even going where you're going. But let me remind you, you were not born to fit in. You were born to set the pace, to build in silence, to rise in shadows, to forge a life that does not need to shout, because its results speak. This is the difference between motivation and purpose. Motivation is emotional. Purpose is anchored. Motivation gets excited. Purpose gets disciplined. Motivation runs sprints. Purpose runs marathons. You don't need more hype. You need more habits. You don't need more inspiration. You need more identity. And identity is shaped in the places no one sees, in the choices that compound when no one's watching, in the hours that don't post well on social media, but build a soul that cannot be shaken. Because ultimately this journey isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about knowing in your final breath, that you left nothing behind, that you didn't play small, that you didn't wait for signs, that you didn't drown your fire in the shallow waters of comfort and conformity. It's about waking up every day and saying, this breath is mine, this mind is mine, this life is mine, and I will use it, not to impress, but to impact, not to win the applause, but to fulfill the assignment. And the assignment is this: become so deeply aligned with who you were born to be that life itself reshapes around your presence, so rooted in purpose that distraction no longer seduces you, so filled with vision that the noise no longer sways you, so consistent in action that the results have no choice but to come, and they will come, because purpose is not a wish, it is a law. What you water grows, what you repeat strengthens, what you believe becomes. So believe with your bones, move with your soul, speak with conviction, and never forget, the world will try to put limits on you. It will try to categorize you, shrink you, shame you into playing safe. But purpose breaks those limits. Purpose erases those boundaries. Purpose is the voice inside that whispers, there's more, even when the world says, be grateful with less. Purpose doesn't just build a life, it builds a legacy. And a legacy is not measured in likes or wealth or titles. It is measured in impact, in how many people felt braver because you lived, in how many hearts were awakened because you refused to stay asleep, in how many souls were ignited because you had the courage to walk in your truth, loudly, relentlessly, unapologetically. That is the power of purpose. And now we arrive at the fire, the moment where everything converges, the doubt, the fear, the quiet sacrifice, the sacred rage, the hours you kept going when no one noticed, the days you swallowed uncertainty like steel and still moved forward, the nights you stared at your ceiling wondering if any of this would matter and kept building anyway. This is where it matters. This is the part where most stop, where the world gets too loud, the burden too heavy, the climb too steep, but not you, because you know something they don't. The climb is the proof. It's the furnace that forges you, because nothing easy ever made you proud. It's not the comfort that changed you. It was the moments that tried to break you and failed. And now you are standing in the fire with your head unbowed. Now you know what you're made of. You are not here by accident. You were born with a blueprint in your spirit, an assignment stitched into your breath. And the pain, the delays, the confusion, that was never punishment. It was preparation. Every breakdown carried a blueprint. Every detour built your discipline. Every closed door shaped your patience, sharpened your focus, stripped you of who you weren't, so who you truly are could emerge. This is why purpose is not found. Purpose is forged. In the silence, in the solitude, in the relentless becoming of someone the world cannot ignore. So let the world doubt you. Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them laugh at your pace, because the seed planted in purpose doesn't sprout overnight. It roots deep, so when the storm comes, and it will, you do not fall. You rise, rooted in something far deeper than motivation, far stronger than ego, far more unshakable than opinion. Rooted in truth, your truth, the truth that you are not here to visit this life. You are here to build it, and what you build will outlive you. Because when a human being walks in alignment with who they were called to be, when they stop shrinking, stop apologizing, stop asking for permission to be powerful, they leave ripples in time. Your voice becomes a melody others borrow. Your fire becomes a torch others follow. Your actions become a standard others adopt. And that is how you cannot be denied. Not because life got easier, but because you got relentless. Because you stopped negotiating with mediocrity. Because you decided to meet your potential not with fear but with fury. Because you understood that this life, this fleeting, trembling miracle of a life, is not meant to be survived. It is meant to be seized, felt, lived, used fully until nothing is left but legacy. So let this be your oath. From this moment forward, you will no longer sleepwalk through your days. You will no longer make excuses dressed as logic. You will no longer lower your light to fit inside a world that fears its brightness. You will rise every morning with fire in your chest and vision in your bones. You will move like someone who remembers who they are. You will work not until it's done, but until it's worthy. You will no longer bow to your circumstances. You will build from them, and if you fall, you'll rise again, because the one who walks in purpose never walks alone. The universe moves in rhythm with the relentless. Life bends to those who refuse to break. And greatness is simply the result of someone who decided, I will not leave this life with my potential still in me. Let that be you. Not someday, now. This is your turning point. This is your line in the sand. This is your awakening. So go. Build a life so full of clarity, fire, discipline, and alignment that even fate stands back and makes room for you. This is not just motivation. This is a mandate. Build a life that cannot be denied, because you were never meant to be average. You were meant to be immortal in impact. Live accordingly.